Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. Today I'm going to be setting up and unboxing a Sawgrass SG500 printer. So the SG500 is a sublimation printer. So it uses sublimation ink to print on sublimation paper and make sublimation craft projects. On this YouTube channel we've covered several different versions of a sublimation printer and this is just one of those. Now I know what you're saying. Which one is the best sublimation printer? I will get to that in a future video. This video is just all about the SG500, how to set it up, benefits of the machine. So let's take a look. First of all, I just unboxed this printer. What comes in the box? You get the printer itself, two different cords. One's a power cord, one's to hook it directly to your computer, and then you get a set of inks. Now with the SG500, you have two different ink options. One is what I chose, which is the Easy Subli inks. So the Easy Subli inks print on sublimation paper, but it also prints on that Easy Subli material that allows you to sublimate onto cotton. And I wanted that feature for my own craft room, so I chose the Easy Subli inks. Now you can choose the SubliJet inks instead, and with those you won't get the ease of printing directly on that Easy Subli paper. So the Easy Subli inks are specifically designed to print directly onto that Easy Subli paper and dry rapidly so you can cut it with your Cricut machine. And I will be doing a future video on that using the Sawgrass printer and comparing how the Easy Subli works with other sublimation printers as well. So if you haven't subscribed to YouTube, you might just want to do that. I've already mentioned two future videos I'll be doing with the Sawgrass printer. So as soon as you get your Sawgrass, maybe you unbox it, we'll start removing this packaging material. But what is the first thing I would recommend you do? With your Sawgrass printer, you get a one-on-one call with Sawgrass and they will help you set up your printer, answer any questions that you might have about your printer, and help you with your sublimation crafting journey. So one-on-one call with a sublimation expert. So the first thing I'd recommend you do is set up that call. I will go over briefly the setup procedure because it is very simple during this video. However, I would recommend just setting up that call, then allowing them to walk you through the steps so that you know that you get your printer set up correctly and come to that call with all the questions that you have about your printer and sublimation so they can help you get started the correct way. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove all of this packaging material from my printer, and then we'll take a look at what's inside this box and how to install those cartridges. In the box, you'll find 4 ink cartridges, one for each color. So cyan, yellow, black, and magenta. Now, we don't want to install these yet. First, we're going to plug up the printer, then it will prompt us to install the ink cartridges, and then we can put these in. But let's take a look at one of the ink cartridges. It will be protected by a plastic bag and we'll remove that before installation, but as you can see, it's just a cartridge. And we are literally just going to pop these in the printer. Easiest setup ever. Let's take a look at plugging in the Sawgrass printer and then we can install these. So now you just use your black power cord. You'll turn your printer over to the side and you should see a plug-in that the power cord end will fit into. Now I'll be connecting this to my wireless network. However, on the same side as the power cord, there is a door and you can lift it to connect the cable that would connect directly to your computer. So if you wanted to connect it that way, you can just remove this door and you can add the door back at any point in time. So now I'm just gonna plug this up and let it prompt us to install our cartridges. Once I plug the printer in, I'm just gonna hit the power button to turn it on. It will then prompt you to install the cartridges. So let's take a look and see how that's done. Over here to the side is a panel. You just open that panel and there are cartridge slots, one for each color. For each of these cartridges, we'll just remove it from that plastic wrapping. You'll see the label here, and then this side with the label is actually the front. So this goes to the front as you install it in the printer. And you'll just match the color of this label to the color of the labels down at the bottom down here to know which slot and which cartridge to put where. It has guides both on the bottom as well as the top, and you'll just push the cartridge into place. Now I'm going to repeat for the other 3 cartridges. You'll You'll also notice on the label on each one of these, it has an expiration date. You do want to pay attention to that expiration date, as sublimation ink does have a shelf life. So now that all of my cartridges are installed, I'll just close this door. And now the printer will automatically start loading up with ink. This process could take up to 7 minutes, so let's just let the printer sit for the 7 minutes and then we'll come back and take a look at the rest of the process. Once the printer's done, the front display will display how much ink is in each of the wells. Then you can set up your wireless connection. I do recommend going to sawgrassinc.com/install for a full video on how to set up your wireless connection. It will also walk you through the setup of your printer if you want to watch that video. Once your wireless connection is successful, it will say connection successful and you will get a Wi-Fi light on the front of your printer. I told you that was easy. So now I have my printer set up, ink's installed, and it's connected to Wi-Fi. What's the next step? You're going to want the Sawgrass Print Manager on your computer because that's part of what makes the magic happen. Go ahead and head to the Sawgrass website, download the Print Manager, and install it on your computer. You should be able to just follow the prompts to download and install the software. Once the software is downloaded, you will be prompted to pick your printer, your type of ink, as well as connect to your printer either via Wi-Fi or by hooking directly to the printer with a cable. Once Print Manager is installed and your printer is connected, you are ready to print. So yes, just that easily, we're ready to print. So my Sawgrass printer is all set up and ready. So I will say I added the ink before my one-on-one call, and I went ahead and downloaded Print Manager, and along with that comes the download for Creative Studio. So you'll have 3 icons on your desktop: Creative Studio, Print Manager, and a folder called Sawgrass Smart Folder. Then I did my one-on-one call and they helped me finish the setup, get my Wi-Fi working so I could print wirelessly, and do my first print. So for me, the one-on-one call was invaluable. It helped me quickly set up the printer that could take over my computer, fix anything that I personally did wrong. I kind of hit the wrong button as I was going through the setup, and it would have took me longer to figure that out, that I hit the wrong button, but they knew in seconds, could fix that for me on my computer, and I was up and running. Then they walked me through Print Manager as well as Creative Studio and how to print, and allowed me to ask questions along the way so I could figure out exactly what I was doing with my SG500 and print my first print. So now I know exactly how to print with my Sawgrass. So for this video, I'm going to go briefly through my computer, print something to my Sawgrass. There are several different ways to print to your Sawgrass printer. You can print out of any program that you are using. So if you have Photoshop, use Photoshop for your designs. You can print directly from Photoshop to your Sawgrass printer. You can print an image directly to your Sawgrass printer, which is something I'm going to do in a second. Or you can use their Creative Studio program to resize it to different templates, grab designs that are already in Creative Studio and print those. So there are tons of options and ways to use your Sawgrass printer. I'm just going to go over one of those in this video. Then I'm going to have future videos both on Print Manager as well as Creative Studio, so you can see the ins and outs of both of those programs, how they function, and some tips and tricks to get the best use out of your printer. So let's head to my computer and check out how to print one more print on my SG500. When you click the icon for Print Manager, it opens in your tray in the bottom. And if you right click, you will see tons of different options. The first one we want to look at is Printer Utilities. Open this up, give it a few minutes, it'll tell you if your printer is ready. It'll also tell you your ink levels as well as your waste container levels. With my bundle, I got the full ink cartridges. However, that 7 minutes of charging or however long it took, it used some of that ink to fill the lines. That's why when I pulled this up, my ink levels are at 66, 64, 65%, just depending on the length of the lines. Your waste containers for like excess ink and things like that, and when you charge your printer, it will be at around 10%, and that's because the printers are shipped with fluid in the lines, and that fluid needs to go somewhere as your printer charges. From this utility screen, you can also do several different things for troubleshooting, including a nozzle check, head clean, printing a primary chart, or printing full page bleeds. And I'll go over in depth on how to use those in a future video. For the sake of this video, you can see your printer status here, your ink levels, and click here to view the queue, which will show you what documents are printing, and you can cancel documents from here as well. Now every time you print to your Sawgrass, it will open up a printer settings box. If for some reason you wanted to change the default settings, you can right click here and go to Smart Folder Manager. Any changes in this area will change the default when you pull it up. So if you print to Easy Subly Vinyl more than you print to anything else, you could change the default to Easy Subly Vinyl here. It would change all these other defaults and you could save. That way it would pull that up and you wouldn't have to change it every single time if that's the primary thing you use your Sawgrass for. I will go over a few of these other options, but for now, let's see how to print something directly from Print Manager. To print from Print Manager, I'm going to right click on the icon and I'm going to say Open Local File. From here, I'm going to open any file on my computer. Now it does need to be like a JPEG or a PNG or an image file that you can print, and you can see the options for the file types down in this drop down box. So I'm going to go ahead and find a file on my computer. Once I open the file, it opened Print Settings for Print Manager. It will tell me the size here. Now, to print this at full size, I would need an 8.5 by 14 inch size paper, which my SG500 will take. If I did not have that size of paper, I can actually change the size of the project here. So if we'll go to Layout, the first thing we want to do is do Print Manager Performs Layout, because we want this on an 8.5 by 11 size paper. Or if you have 8.5 by 14, you could click there. It'll show you the print sizes here. Be sure you have the Impose Margins box checked so it doesn't cut off any of your print around the edges of the paper. You could also center it up if you want it centered up. But something else we can do is go to Jobs, and we can change the size here. So let's say I wanted it 4 inches, and it'll automatically change the height. We could also change the number of copies. So I could print 2 of these leaves. I could go back to Layout, and now it'll fit on an 8.5 by 11 size sheet of paper, which is what I have. So from just this simple interface, I can size my prints, I can change the number of copies, I could go here and I could alter the color slightly. You can pull down here, and photographic is mainly for photographs of people. Vivid would brighten those colors up a little bit for other images. And those are a personal preference. You can go with either one. And these sliders, you can change saturation, brightness, contrast, and even tint the color slightly. These colors will just tint. It won't actually change the color of the print, so it just kind of tints it more of a blue. And you can click Reset at any time to reset to the center. Then we'll go back over here to Material, and we will want to pick the substrate we're adding that to. Are you putting it on a mug? Are you putting it on a mouse pad? Let's say I'm going to put it on polyester, like a tea towel, so I would pick polyester. The paper is going to default to TruePix Classic, which is the Sawgrass paper. Now you can use any sublimation paper that you like in your Sawgrass printer. The print quality will default to high, and the mirror button will be checked. You do always want to make sure that these dimensions over here on the side match your paper size. So I have 8.5 by 11 inch paper in my SG500, and 8.5 by 11 is displayed on the screen. So now we are ready to print to our Sawgrass printer just that easily. So I'm going to go ahead and click Print and start printing. So the SG500 will now start printing. You may hear it on the screen. So the Sawgrass itself prints faster than any other sublimation printer I have. However, it is louder when it's printing. When it's not printing, it's super quiet. You won't hear it at all. When it is printing, it is a little bit loud. The microphone will amplify the noise, so do be aware of that. But I did want you to be aware that when it is printing, it doesn't make a noise. However, it is super fast. Like, it is probably almost done already with those 2 leaves that I just printed. And it is done. So those leaves just came right out. So super, super fast printing and gorgeous high quality. So now I'm printing with my Sawgrass and I'm ready to start sublimation. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the unboxing and setup of my Sawgrass SG500. Be sure to subscribe to YouTube because I have many more Sawgrass videos coming as I test this printer, go through the software, make some projects with my gorgeous prints that I'm printing now. I can't wait to give this printer my full review and compare it with the other sublimation printers I have. So I have a converted Epson EcoTank, I have an Epson F170 and now I have a Sawgrass SG500. And I will have a future video where I compare those. I do want to use the Sawgrass for a period of time before I do that video so that I can give my honest, true opinion on which one I think is for you. And hopefully that video will help you decide which sublimation printer you should have in your craft room. So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about the Sawgrass SG500, drop down in the comment section, please ask away. I can answer them in the comment section, or I can do a future video all about the things that you want to know about. So drop down to the comment section, ask all those questions you have. And then, like I said, subscribe on YouTube because you don't want to miss the future videos I have in store. So thank y'all so much for joining me today, and I will see you next week with another great sublimation video. Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye.